This
Hi.
conference will now be
Right.
recorded.
It was showing
Okay,
an
let's get
error.
started. Okay, so I'm audible, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, can you give me the present? Okay, I have already. Okay. Okay. So I hope you understand, what are the things that we discussed yesterday, am I right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now let's get, only focused on the front end technologies what we discussed. So as I told you yesterday that we are going to cover all these topics going forward. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I'll give you an introduction of this jQuery and any of the other framework or library, and then next Bootstrap, or the other way you can call it as a RWD. So which stands for Responsive Web Design. Okay. So this is we're
Mm-hmm.
going to cover. But whenever we are talking about specific parts like HTML or CSS, so make sure we have to understand and we have to remember that we have a versions as well. We have a versions as well in each language, or maybe each library or each tool, whatever it is. All of them it has like versions. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so what I would recommend you to install one code editor. So that is for Visual Studio Code. Let me show you that. So it's a free download from the internet source. So you can download this.
Mm-hmm.
Don't confuse with that Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code. So there are two IDEs editors that we have. So we are going to download Visual Studio Code. In shortcut, we can say that VS Code as well.
Okay.
Okay. I
Yeah.
hope that I have already installed in this mission. Yeah, it is.
I'm downloading it.
Yeah. So downloading it. Fine. Yeah. No issue. So once you download that, please install it, and you can be able to see that interface like this. Then you download and install.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So what is the main purpose of this Visual Studio Code? Okay. So I'll tell you. So yesterday we were discussing about that Facebook login page, right? You remember, right?
Yeah.
So instead of talking that Visual Studio Code, first let us talk something related to this page in terms of technical. Okay. So consider everything here as a small component. Okay, let us say that this Facebook is a logo is the one component, and this text is one component, and this background color is one component. And when you scroll down, so we can consider this as a footer. And if you look at that, footer is a one component, and there is some links. Okay, and when you focus on when you look into this area, okay, so we have a box which has a shadow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that we used to call as a box shadow. And when you see inside this box we have input elements. Okay, so whatever the terminology that I am using, that try to understand that and try to remember those.
Okay.
Okay, so usually now if a non-techie guy usually can talk that this is that email box or password box, that is for a non-techie terminology. But being as a techie, or being as a developers or designers, you should call them in a specific terminology, like input fields, email input field or email field or password field. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and of course this like this called like buttons, right? So
Yeah.
login button, create new account. So
Okay.
we have to first divide each and every thing as a component here. Okay. So to build these multiple components, definitely what we need is we need first HTML language. Okay. We need first HTML language. So what stands for HTML language and what is the use of HTML? Okay, so
Uh-huh.
HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Okay, so I'll put it down here for you. I mean, instead of writing here right now, if you find in internet, so that we'll get a correct thing.
Uh-huh. I downloaded Visual Studio.
You download it, good. Good to hear that. Just install it.
Yeah, I think it's done.
It's done. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, install it first, and just let me know, once you're able to see this user interface like this.
It looks similar to that. It's just to
Yes,
get
that's fine
started.
then.
There's like yeah, now it looks same.
Look same, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. So, so we were focusing on HTML. So, what stands for HTML is Hypertext Markup Language. So,
Mm-hmm.
the name itself is telling that it is a kind of a language. Okay, it is a kind
Yeah.
of language. In our day-to-day life, what how we used to communicate with the language only, right? So right now we are communicating in English, or if you
Mm-hmm.
talk for any regional language, whoever is familiar with that, so they will used to communicate with the person to person or person to a group, whatever it is. So the communication mainly depends on language. So here, this language is communicating to what? That is a major thing. So this language is communicating mainly to the browser. Browser in the sense,
Okay.
again, like whatever the browser that we have. Okay, it is for
Mm-hmm.
Chrome, or it is like a Firefox, or it is like Internet Explorer, whatnot, whatever it is. End of the day, it is a browser only. We may have like a different names of the browser, and we may have like different versions in each and every browser. But
Mm-hmm.
so end up with what you need to understand, this hypertext markup language is going to communicate to the browser. So that means in simple terms, whatever we are writing in HTML document, so we have to execute the document in browser itself. Okay, I'll show you
Uh-huh.
now. Now, if you see this page, what you have observed apart from this place, if you see this, we have a tab. Whenever I open any of the tab, it is showing that a new tab here, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to Facebook, it's showing a new tab, or it is showing something else like a Facebook.iphone login or sign up something, right?
Yeah.
And if you open something else like a Flipkart, and then I open the Flipkart, what it is showing? It is showing like online shopping site for mobiles, electronics, furniture, grocery, so and so,
Uh-huh.
right? So what you have to
Yeah.
understand here, for each and every website, okay, it contains the title first. Title is the first thing. So whenever we are developing something, we have to give the title to our web page. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the main purpose of HTML is to create pages, web
Okay.
pages like this, or web pages like this, whatnot. We can create a web pages like however we want and whatever we want. Okay, so in order to create a web pages, what we have to do for the initially, what we have to do, we have to create one document. So you may ask a question like, what kind of document it is. So the
Mm.
document in the sense, I would say, whenever we create something here, new file. I mean, instead of the document, you can consider it as a file. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So we need to create one file for it. Okay. So initially it is going to create like this. So instead of Visual Studio Code, if you are not comfortable with the Visual Studio Code, what you can do, you can simply create one notepad. This is also kind of file only, right? Or
Yeah.
other way we can call it as a document. Okay. But
Mhm.
just to create a document or just to create like file is enough, is just enough to check this thing in the browser? No. So very first thing, we have to save this file. Usually what is the format of this notepad file? Whenever you write something like hello, and when you are trying to save it,
That's the,
what format it is going to save?
the
.txt
first.
format.
Yeah.
So the format, you should understand that .txt, because this is very important, that if you working something on the HTML, the file you must save as .html, and make sure whatever the letter that you are giving, and make sure to keep all lowercase only. Hello.html.
Mm.
You're getting my point?
Yeah.
Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a one more text file, and here also I'm going to write as a hello, and this time I'm not going to change as a HTML. I'm going to just keeping as it is the save format as txt, and I'm saving this.
Mm. Should I be doing this
What you
as
have
well?
observed here, yes, I'll tell you that. What is the difference that you have been observing these two files or documents? Look like both are
Um.
same,
Yeah.
but visually both are same, but the saving format is different from each other, right? This
Mm-hmm.
we saved as .txt format. This we saved as .html format. How really it is going to create an impact based on the file extension that we saved is, now when it comes to see, this is hello and this is hello.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh.
the second hello, whatever we have saved, the second hello I saved as .txt, so it is showing as a text document. But the first hello file I saved as .html, so it converts as a browser icon, like Microsoft Edge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now if I click on this and if I open with, it will show a lot of browser options to me. And when I click the Google Chrome, now it is going to show me hello in the browser.
Oh.
Clear?
Yeah.
So like how that other websites like Facebook or other Flipkart and the same way. Now also I made one HTML file. I mentioned a name as hello, and now I'm able to see that no the code or text whatever I have written in directly in the browser. You're
Mm.
getting my point?
Yeah.
So now to save HTML file. So the first rule that I told you, all the lower cases, I mean all the letters that whatever you want to enter, make it lowercase only, and do not give any spaces. For example, if you want to keep it two words, let us say Darshana uh, website. let us say like this, you want to create something like that. Okay. So usually whenever you are saying something which is wrong,
Mm.
okay, do not create anything like this. So either instead of giving the space, either you should mention hyphen or underscore.
Mm.
Okay, and make sure to change the file as .html. In some places you may see htm as well, but better to make it as html only. Still, if you made that htm also, it works, but we are not actually going to recommend that html format that we are recommending to check no whatever the to check the output. Okay,
Okay.
now we'll come back to this hypertext markup language. So now whatever the whatever the hypertext markup language, to which device or which object it is going to communicate, it is going to communicate with browser. Whatever
Mm.
we are going to write in hello.html file, so those changes will be appear here straight away. So in simple terms, hypertext markup language, what stands for HTML? Hypertext markup language. What is the use of that HTML? So with HTML we can create web pages. And the most
Mm.
important point which you have to understand, the
Communicate.
HTML whatever the syntaxes or whatever the text we have written in HTML, or maybe the HTML file will be what you can say, hmm, will be
Communicating to the browser.
executed, no, will be executed in only in the browser, not any of the platform. Okay, the HTML
Okay.
file will be executed in only the browser only, not with any of the other platform. If you open simply the HTML file in your browser, in your mobile, if your mobile has a browser, then only it will work, otherwise it won't work.
Mm.
Now what we can do, hope you remember we created this hello with txt file, right? Now right click this, open with, and here actually I'm not able to get any of the options as browser has we got, right? For what txt file I'm
Mm.
not getting any options here, see. But still what we can do, we can just drag this file and we can check, see what is the difference that you have been observed in both places.
It looks different type. The
Yeah,
font is
so
different.
this looks like how usually the text is appear in the notepad, in the same way only it is displaying.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this, it is not like that. Now I will show you one more different here. This is the first, I believe this is for HTML file. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to make that hello as a big, save it,
Heading
and
one.
same thing I'm copying. Sorry?
Is that heading one?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. The same thing that I'm keeping in .txt file and .html file both. Okay. I'm saving in both
Mm.
places. And now let us verify this .txt file first in the browser. And if you see whatever I have written in the same way, it is displaying here. So there is no point, right?
Yeah.
So it is not communicating. The txt file is not communicating to the browser, and it is not actually executing into the browser platform, right? But when we are talking about .html file, we have to reload every time. Don't forget it, okay? So when I'm
Mm-hmm.
reloading this, I can able to see hello here,
Mm.
right? You're getting my point?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So what is this H1? Now that is
I
where
just
that
guessed.
actual.
Yeah. It was
Sorry.
hello. Or I just guessed it was heading one.
Okay, fine. So we may have a lot of uh, you know uh, code syntax like this, but what is the technical terminology of this H1 or H2 or whatever it is? So these are being called as tags, tags, tags. Okay, that is the
Uh-huh.
normal terminology. So when you're talking when we are talking about the browser terminology, you used to call them as elements. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
we have lot of elements in HTML. Okay, so what is the purpose of them? We have a lot of elements in HTML. Then what is the purpose of them? For each
To
and every
change.
element has a different purpose. Like how H1 is making some text to heading, big heading. In the same way, I can change H1 to H5, save and reload this. This is the level of one kind of heading. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So in the same way, we have a lot of elements. Like instead of H5, if I make that P, P stands for paragraph. You won't get any much difference here. Except that the boldness not there now, right? Because it's not a heading; it's a
Mm-hmm.
paragraph.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the same way, we have a lot of elements in HTML. For each and every element has a different purpose. So everything will be work together in order to deliver a web page like this or whatnot.
Mm.
Right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to learn HTML elements, so the only thing that you must do is you have to practice.
Mm.
Okay, so then only you can able to understand them first. Then only you can able to write in your own way. So if you ask me like is it really difficult to keep in your mind all of the elements and all? No, not that much, because we have a lot of elements, but in real time we're not going to use all of them. Hardly we're going to use 30 to 40, max to max.
Just 30? 40?
Yes, that's 30 to 40 only. So if you
Oh.
see any website, so all the elements will be like repetitive. It's not something
Mm.
right now I have used H1. Okay, it's not something like there is no another H1 that I'm going to use. No, H1 can be I can use wherever it requires. So in whole HTML page, if I use that H1 10 times, so you need to you need to remember 10 times that H1 element. No, right? You need to
Mm.
remember that
Mm.
H1 tag. So wherever it is required, you can use. So in the same way, what I'm trying to say, we have a lot of elements in HTML language, but you no need to remember all of them. So as I told you in the live applications as well, max to max we are going to 30 to 40. Less than 50, I can say.
Okay.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
let us check for this, Facebook.com, only this login page only. Okay. So do you know that for any of the website that we can check the view source?
Yeah, inspect, right?
Mm-hmm. Inspect. Then next. What next,
Oh,
Darshana?
oh,
Only
I've never
inspect?
done. Uh, would it be sources?
Okay. No. So there are two ways that if you want to see only view source, you can view page source. The shortcut is Control U. If you see the Control U, whatever the code that being used here, right, to build this page, everything will be appear here. Now see, lot of code here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we don't need to worry about the view source anymore, but we need to, excuse me, we need to understand that how we are really utilizing the inspect element. This inspect element is very, 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 very important. If you know how to utilize that inspect element, you can learn 50 to 60% of easily these two technologies. Just remember my words. If you
Mm,
know how to utilize inspect element in a proper way, just 50 to 60% of these two technologies you can learn very easily. Rest 30 to 40% only you just need to focus.
okay.
Okay, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
give you that how to utilize in a proper way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you see this, when I'm inspecting this, okay, so there are two ways to inspect that elements. Okay, so elements, if you see elements, I told you, right? Element is the
Mm-hmm.
standard terminology whenever we are talking with the browser. And what is going to do this element section? So we have lot of code and all, which is being, which I mean, we can see all the elements here, whatever elements that we written for this page. Okay, and if you see this first arrow one, what it is showing, that select an element in page to inspect it. So whenever you click on something, and whenever you move your mouse, or if you want to see something, what is there behind this text, or behind this button, or behind this input field. So exactly,
Mm-hmm.
whenever you click that arrow and whenever you want to select something, you can select it, just click it, and that specific or a particular element will be open here. And now you can see that what exactly we written here. Okay, and if you see, I told you, right? So we have a lot of elements, but max to max 30 to 40 elements only we are going to use, and those elements only will be repetitive. So if you see, there are a lot of places you can see div element here.
Uh-huh.
Div stands for division. See, and we have a H2. We already we just see, just now only we saw that how H1 and H6 looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, there are a lot of divs here.
What does div do again?
Division. So you can, in other words, like a div is kind of like a division or block.
Oh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions so far?
Um, Nothing big. Just
Okay.
is like the
Even though if you have a
font.
small, you feel free to ask me.
Okay, so things like font for the text, is that also implemented into the code?
No, no, no. I did not get you. Come again.
Like the type of text you use, the font, is that
Which
going
text
to
you are
be
talking?
any text? Like when you're
Like
coding,
this
does,
one, this one.
yeah, yeah, like does
Mm-hmm.
the font, do you choose it when you code?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So, actually, I'm not exactly getting what you were asking. So I understood something you
Oh
were
no,
asking the text.
I see it on the right side. It says font family.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll come to this point later. Okay. Anyhow, like you have asked it. Okay. So if you open any of the website and whenever you click the elements, you can see left side everything is a HTML language and HTML elements. But
Mm-hmm.
the other side, which is the right side, all these are CSS properties.
Oh,
Okay, so that is the reason I was telling to you, if you know how to utilize the element, inspect element, you can learn 50 to 60% very easily from the inspect element. So most of the time, how really people use inspect element is to just to inspect the element. Most of the
oh,
people doesn't know how to really utilize this. I mean, I'm talking about that interns, or maybe if they took some training or somewhere, They really don't know how to utilize it in a certain way. So what they'll think that main the main purpose of that inspect element is to just to inspect the elements and to check what are the CSS properties that we have been written for this. But but here we can write something in our own way. Let us say for this text, I'm just adding color,
Oh.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But this really going to impact on this Facebook.com? No.
No.
This is just for your browser window, and once you click the reload, what all these changes will go away.
Mm.
Okay. So why I'm saying that this inspect element is that much important. If you don't remember the property, these are all the property keys, and these are all the values. If you don't remember that what is the properties and all, still whenever you click on any of the at the end of any of the property, just do one click, and it is going to ask you to enter whatever the property that you want. So if I enter some letter like T, see how many options that it is giving,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
In the same way, so whatever the statements that I told you in HTML, we have a lot of elements, but in real time, as I told you, maximum less than 50 elements only we are going to use. In the same way, in CSS also, we have a lot of properties. If you see, it starts with T. There are so many properties which starts with only T till this. But are we really using all of them? No, not at all.
Mm.
And most of them are not even going to support all the browsers. So that is a one maybe advantage or disadvantage that we can talk later. But the point is we cannot use all of them. If you use something, make sure that the property has to work in a correct way in all the browsers.
Mm. Oh, so that's
You got my
why
point?
some websites don't work on like Firefox.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about the functionality. So try to understand this. The functionality is different from the UI. So if the properties are not suitable for this browser, how it will be look like? This much of gap. If you see, if you open the Facebook.com in any of the browser or any of the other no, versions of the browser, you may see a different things. Like in some of them, this box shadow will appear in a different way, or this curve scene appear in a different way, the spaces
Mm.
will be more than this whatever you are seeing in the Chrome browser. These are all
Mm.
considered.
Okay.
Okay,
Mm.
so that is the reason that I'm telling that inspect element is one of the best thing that we can inspect the elements. We can write something in CSS properties, even though whenever you double click on this, still we can change something.
Mm.
And if you want to write any new, like somebody has written H2 here, right? You want
Mm-hmm.
to change this H2 to H1. Just right click on this. Uh, what is that? Edit as HTML. Then it is going to ask you. You can change H2 to H1. You may not see much difference because the point is the actual behavior of HTML elements will be override with the CSS properties.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let us say that we have seen that H1 here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where is, first of all, where is our CSS? This one, yeah. Now if I make that H1 here, save and reload here. So now if you see H1 has some bold and all, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I cannot make it. I want to use. Okay, there is some kind some situation. I want to use H1, but it should not be bold anymore. Will that be possible?
Uh-huh. Yeah, you would have to change the font weight
Yeah, so font weight where? In HTML?
in CSS.
Yes. So here I can write, so now you can see I'm selecting this H1 and I'm going to add element.style here, font weight. We have a lot of option here. I can make it as a normal here. Now
Mm,
there is no bold one, right?
yeah.
So the default behavior we are actually overriding it. So that is the reason I said, don't worry that if I make H1 still it's not look like a heading like that much bold,
Mm-hmm.
because if you see that font weight they also made normal. That's the reason. Otherwise, if they make this as a bold, it become bolder.
Mm.
Getting my point? Any question?
No question.
Okay. So now let's go back to that HTML document. So is this how we need to start in our this is how we need to start the elements and all in HTML? No. So there is a procedure. We cannot straight away write H1s, P tags straight away like this. Even though if you write them, still the browser is very good. We have that it is not actually going to think that okay, so the document whatever I receive, let's say example I'm a browser now. Okay, if you send me this HTML file to me to execute, what I'll check first. So for me I have some standards to follow. Even though the document or file does not have that standards and all, still I can execute it. Okay, now I'll show you something. This is our HTML file, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this is a view source. You can see whatever I have written here, we can show here, right? We can see here, right?
Uh-huh.
This is what we written, right? But
Yeah.
try to see here. Whenever I did the inspect element, I can see some other elements as well here, not just H1. I can see HTML element. It is starting. I mean, it is ending whenever we use this forward slash.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we can see that HTML element started and it is ended. Head element started, it is ended immediately, and body element started. Within the body, I have a H1. But if you think that HTML document are this all we have written here? No, right? We didn't.
No.
You're getting my point? Are any question?
Yeah. Is it just because of the browser?
Yes. So
Okay.
these browsers are now are updated, okay, to match. If they found a .html, so .html is enough for them. So that is the reason I told you that it is a communication. You know how HTML documents will communicate to the browser. Earlier in the initial stage, whenever we write something like only H1 like this, still it is going to execute, but it shows some warnings to us. But now, no, there is no warning because these browsers are updated. They need what they need is .html extension, so they will only generate the basic code structure for us to populate the output. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so now maybe you may ask then still the browser is executing that without writing HTML head body and all. Then what is the purpose of writing all of them in our document, right? So as
Yeah.
I told you, that is the standards that we have to follow. Again, you may ask nobody will watch your website, then what is the point to maintain the standards? So whenever we are making our website larger than a scale, and whenever we are doing like our website is completely written, the code has written in a correct way, and our website has no kind of Marvel attacks and all. So all this we have to follow that W3C standards.
Okay.
Okay, not the W3 schools website. I'm talking about W3C standards.
Mm.
Okay. So so whenever you create a HTML file, very first thing that you have to do is to create the basic elements. HTML, this is how we have to start, and within the HTML we have a major elements of head and body. Now within this body, whatever we are want to see in this web browser, so we have to keep everything in body only.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's save this and come back here and reload this.
Mm.
Now if you see this place, this is something showing as hello.html as this document name, but we don't want that. So I want to see welcome as it is here as well. So what we can do is between the head elements, we have a one more element called title, and we have to start and we have to starting tag and closing tag. We have to start and close, and in between this title, welcome to our website. Save it, reload it. Now you can see that in the welcome to our website. And whenever you see this title, you can see two of them here. One is that the icon here, and second one is the title. If you see that, we know how we have to create the title and all, right? But how
Yeah.
about this? And what we used to call this? This is called as a favorite icon. In short word, fav icon, fav icon. That we
Okay.
can discuss later point of time.
Yeah.
Not required at this moment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the basic thing, as I told you. If you are comfortable to write HTML element for a best practicing, you can use notepad or notepad plus plus, but make sure you have to do I mean, you have to save the file with .html format only. Otherwise, there is no use. Whatever the code or how many lines or how many elements that you have written in the document or file, there is no use. If you use the Notepad or Notepad++, if you want to practice it, you can save the file with .html format. So
Mm.
what I would recommend for you, if you want to practice in Notepad, that is the best option. At least practice like 2 or 3 days, because what is going to happen if you open the Visual Studio Code, right? As I told you, okay. So this is the first
Yeah.
initial interface, and when you click the new file, it will ask me if it is going to create a new file. Now, okay. Now I'm going
Mm.
to. So I'm just doing this some a boiler template. Use that Shift 1. Is it going to allow it or not? Okay, let me save this first. I'll see. Let's create a UI session. One folder. In that folder, what I'm going to give a file name as index. I'll tell you tomorrow why I gave a file name as index. Okay. Then
Mm-hmm.
.html, save as type of, save it. Now in Visual Studio Code, okay, you have this whenever you open this explore option, right? You will get a lot of options here. We have these extensions as well. I'll tell you tomorrow, like, what are the extensions that we need to use. So you must install iconic some install. I'll tell you like this extension name,
Okay.
maybe material icon theme or something. I'll tell you tomorrow. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So what this extension is going to do? If it is a HTML file, if you created, it will create this less than and greater than symbols here, so that okay, open folder. So we may have in the application lot of files and lot of format. Like you may see that dot ts files, dot js files, dot css files, lot of them. So to
Mm-hmm.
recognize them immediately, so we must install that extension if you want to practice in Visual Studio Code. That really helps you a lot. So now, right now I'm in .html page
Uh-huh.
and use that
Shift
shift
on.
to one, and it is going to ask me some options here. And whenever I click on the first option, if you see there is some templates to us. This is called like boiler template.
Yeah.
So what
You,
it is
uh,
giving to us, yeah,
so for
you're
my
asking
thing,
something.
you know the orange, like the index.html thing, the very
Mm-hmm,
top line, it's not showing up
mm-hmm.
for me. How do I do that?
That I told you, no. So you must install some extension to it.
Oh,
Otherwise, it will show you as normal .html files only. I'll tell you the extension tomorrow. Even I don't remember that, so it must be
okay.
part of this. Maybe this one, material icon theme. Yeah, this is the one. I think
Okay.
so. So just click this extension box and you can search this material icon theme
Uh-huh.
and try to install that.
I did.
Okay, you can do that
Yeah,
later.
I installed
And
it.
if you okay, and if you see, I didn't write anything like the doc type HTML head manually, right? Everything is
Mm-hmm.
generated here. So
Yeah.
if something is generated like this, maybe for a persons like who is very familiar with HTML language, they can easily write the code. But whoever is not there in the learning stage, like first day of HTML or second day of HTML, usually no, I don't recommend them to do something do no a coding and all in Visual Studio Code, because whenever they write HTML language in Notepad or Notepad plus plus, I even in when you are talking about like Notepad or Notepad plus plus, I highly recommend that Notepad only, because it won't give any suggestions as well. Even though in sometimes Notepad plus plus it is going to give some suggestion, and whenever you click on head, it is going to highlight that head ending tag. But nothing is going to happen in Notepad. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so whenever you write something with your own hands, like starting element of head or closing element of head with the forward slash and everything, and the structure, whenever you maintain something, right? Then you will get some
Uh-huh.
confidence, how the actual elements is really structuring and how you are writing the code and all. So once you
Okay.
practice like 2 to 3 days in Notepad, then you can come back to Visual Studio Code. So there is an option. Or if you say so, no, Sai, I don't have that much time. Straight away, I can, do everything in VS Code. It's up to you. But what
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to, tell you, even though if you're practicing in Visual Studio Code, still try to see that and how the code structure is. Okay, how it
Okay.
is written in a correct way, the structured way. So
Mm-hmm.
HTML element starts, HTML head is closed here. In within the head, we have like a title tag and some meta tags. We'll discuss everything. Don't worry. And how body tag is there, and between the with between this body, how we can write the elements and all.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Any question?
No question.
Okay. So we can continue from tomorrow, and we'll mainly focus on elements. So meanwhile, if you
Mm-hmm.
get a time, just focus on HTML elements. You can easily get from internet or W3 schools. Or there are a lot of resources, right?
Yeah, I
I
already have it
and I
set up.
remember that you said in the initial yesterday call you have some idea like how the elements and all.
Yeah,
If
because
I'm
of
not wrong, okay.
Figma, like in Figma, you can like see the elements. That's the So I've seen
Yeah, yeah,
their,
I got you. Yeah, yeah, I got your point. Okay, but instead of that Figma and all, right, you better to check in your own way and to find
yeah,
that what are the elements and all. Don't go by any tutorial. Okay, because I mean you are in the starting stage, right?
yeah.
So you never know from there from where you start and from where it will going to be end. Okay, so it is
Mm-hmm.
definitely takes time for you to follow that online tutorials. Still, it takes like for you to takes like 1 week to 10 days of time to understand online tutorials. Even though they are explaining one by one, topic by topic, but practice is required for is in the the initial stage, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
go through the elements, like what are the elements you have. So
Is
the
there like a
task
web?
for you is, yeah, you can
It,
take any website, it's not specific things. So if you put something in HTML learning, so W3 schools is one of the very common website that people has to use, and
uh-huh.
HTML.com and Java Point, a lot of websites that we have. Tutorials Point.
Oh,
You
mm-hmm.
can go for a website, but I'm not recommending you to go for a videos.
Okay,
Okay, you can go for it, but normal websites and all, but don't go for a videos.
okay.
So your task is like for tomorrow, you have to collect few. I'm not going to tell you the number, like how many you're going to cover. You
Uh-huh.
have to tell me that okay, these are the elements that I have found in the internet. Like how many? Then I'll tell you like how many of them that we are going to use in the real time, and whatever the
Uh-huh.
elements that you have collected. Based on that, we can continue our session and all.
Okay. Do you have any recommendations for
I'll
places
go
to
for this.
learn?
Go for this basic. Usually people will refer this only most of the time.
Okay.
W3 schools are anything. Any HTML, I think it's not a good thing. So this Code Academy, you have to, mm, yeah, is something. Yeah,
Okay.
you can find it, Dashina, because I mean, it's not always. It's not like a case like always give people will give a references for you, right? So sometimes you
Yeah.
have to find it in your own way, whatever the topic it
Mm-hmm.
is, no matter what, right? So just try to find more, like whatever the suggestions that I gave you, right? You can ignore that, no issues. You can find any of the website and just try to look at that, the elements. What is the name of the elements? Like we have elements as we just covered, like H1 heading, P, and div. I told you like it's a division, and you can explore it on div. What exactly use of the div?
Mm-hmm.
So what exactly use of the P?
Got it.
Okay, and what are the other elements that we have? We have how to insert that, just take, look at this web page. Okay, I'm just reloading this. So just look at this page. So we have like input fields here, right?
Mm-hmm.
How to create this input field? What is that? What is the element we have in HTML to build this input field, or to build this button, or to build this blue color link? This is where the question, the no, you can ask the question yourself. Then only you will get it to good points, and then only you will get good websites and all. In the same way, you can continue your finding and
Mm-hmm.
all.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do
Okay,
that. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So if you have any questions, let keep all of them in one place.
Yeah.
We can, yeah, we can discuss on tomorrow. So going forward,
Okay.
once 10 or 15 days, then we'll share with you the email ID to you. Then if you have any questions, you can put me in an email.
Oh, so the next class is not tomorrow?
Tomorrow only.
Okay.
No, no, what I'm trying to say is, right now you
Yeah.
can keep all your questions in one place, and next day class we can discuss. So going forward, obviously, right now we are in like in the second day only, right? I can say like it's the first day only, because yesterday we didn't discuss anything related to the actual technologies. I
Yeah.
can say it is the first day only, right? So going
Yeah.
forward, whenever you work on HTML, CSS, and JavaScripting, you may have a lot of questions. You cannot wait until next day of class, right? So you can mail me. Okay, that is
Mm.
that too. Next, after maybe week of time, after 10 days of time. That is for now. You can keep
Mm.
all our questions and all in somewhere like Notepad or somewhere, so that tomorrow class we can discuss those questions and all. I'll try to give you
Okay.
answer all for all of them.
Yeah, that works.
Fine.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.